I know how easy it is to get into a chicken rut when you feel like you are making the same chicken dinners over and over again and you just kind of get tired of them and you kind of get tired of chicken. So today I am going to be sharing 5 new chicken dinners with you, and these are not your average boring chicken dinners. These dinners are absolutely delicious. You're going to be wanting to eat them over and over again. Let's go head to my kitchen and let's go make some good chicken dinners. To kick us off today, we are making this chicken with a garlic Parmesan sauce, and the sauce is so good I could pretty much just drink it. But to this cutting board, I'm adding 2 large chicken breasts. Slice the chicken breast in half horizontally just like this. This will make your chicken thinner so it will cook a lot quicker. Also, your chicken will be super tender this way. And if you don't want to cut your chicken like this, you could always cube your chicken if you'd prefer to do that. Now over to the big pan on my stove, I added a tablespoon of olive oil and a tablespoon of butter. Once the butter is melted and the oil is hot, I added my chicken down. Just season the chicken on both sides with a dash of salt, pepper, dried oregano, garlic powder, and onion powder. Cook the chicken for about 4 to 5 minutes on each side. Typically, I only like to flip the chicken once while it's cooking in a pan. That way, the outside of the chicken will form a really nice crust. But once the chicken's cooked through, just remove it to a plate and set that plate to the side. Now into the same pan that we just cooked the chicken in, add in your tablespoon of minced garlic and a tablespoon of flour. Give this a stir until the flour turns a nice golden color, and don't worry about cleaning your pan in between cooking the chicken and making the sauce. All of those brown flavorful bits in the bottom of your pan will just add a ton of amazing flavor to your recipe. So once the flour was a golden color, I added in my half a cup of chicken broth. I scraped all the flavorful bits off the bottom of my pan. Once the sauce thickened up a little bit, I added in my 1.5 cups of heavy cream. I also added in my seasoning, so just a dash of salt, pepper, dried oregano, and I'm just going to give this a stir and let this simmer for about 2 to 3 minutes or until the sauce has thickened. At this point, you're going to want to add in about 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. Let the cheese melt down, and then you're going to want to add back in the chicken that we cooked up earlier. Let the chicken get coated in the sauce, and then you could serve this up. I think my favorite way to serve this dinner is over a bed of cooked egg noodles, but you could also serve this over cauliflower rice, kind of for a lower carb option. Also, you could serve it over cooked mashed potatoes or regular rice. You need to make this dinner. That sauce is so rich and delicious, you'll love it. Now we're making the Southwest chicken and sweet potato skillet. So to begin, we're going to want to partially cook our sweet potato first in the microwave. Sweet potatoes tend to take a long time to cook on the stove, so that's why we're partially cooking it. I'm placing my 1 large sweet potato that I sliced in half in a microwave safe bowl with about 1/4 cup of water. I microwaved it for around 3 to 4 minutes until it got soft, and then I just cubed that sweet potato and I set it to the side. Now to the pan on my stove, I added a tablespoon of olive oil. I added a pound of chicken right in there, along with 1/2 of a diced yellow onion. For my seasonings, I tossed in a teaspoon of oregano, a teaspoon of salt, pepper, chili powder, and cumin, but you could use any seasonings that you love. Go ahead and give this a stir to coat the chicken in the seasonings and cook the chicken through right now. Now that my chicken is cooked through, I'm adding in a 4-ounce can of diced green chilies. Those just add a lot of great flavor. I also added in a 15-ounce can of drained and rinsed black beans, along with the sweet potato that we cut up earlier, and 1 diced Roma tomato. The last thing I'm adding in is 1/2 cup of red enchilada sauce, or you could use green enchilada sauce. Give this a stir and let this simmer for about 4 minutes on the stove. Once the simmering time is up, add about 1/2 cup of Mexican-style cheese on the top. Let the cheese melt down, and then you could serve this up. If you don't care for cheese, of course, you don't have to add that Mexican-style cheese at the end. You guys, this dinner has so much flavor, and it really is a wonderful lower carb, high protein option if you're looking for something like that. Also, my meal plan that I have been telling you about for a little while is going to be out next week. It will help you so much with planning your meals for the month. I really can't wait for you to see it. Now we're making this Parmesan crusted chicken. So right here I have my baggie holder. I'm just going to add a large gallon-sized bag to the baggie holder, and then I'm going to add in my 2 large chicken breasts. You could always double this recipe if you're feeding more people, or half it for less people. So after I added my chicken in there, I'm going to zip up the bag, and then I'm going to pound it with my meat mallet until the chicken is even in size. If you don't have a meat mallet like this, you could always use a rolling pin or a bottle. But now that my chicken is even in size, I'm going to place it back on my baggie holder, and we're just going to add the ingredients in to marinate the chicken. So I added in 1/3 cup of Italian dressing, 1/3 cup of ranch dressing, and a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Let this marinate in your refrigerator for at least an hour, or you could let it marinate all day when you're at work or school or just doing things all day. But after the marinating time is up, just place the chicken on a hot pan on the stove and let it cook on each side for about 7 to 8 minutes, or until the chicken's cooked through. While the chicken's cooking away, we are going to work on the cheesy mixture. So into this little bowl, I added 1/3 cup of diced provolone cheese, 1/3 cup of shredded Parmesan cheese, and 2 tablespoons of ranch dressing. I microwaved this for 15 seconds at a time, stirring after every time until the cheese was nice and melty. Once the cheese was melty, I just removed the cooked chicken from the pan. I'll set the chicken to the side. Now we're going to make the easy Parmesan crust mixture. So into this little bowl, I added in 1/3 cup of panko breadcrumbs. Next, add in 3 tablespoons of melted butter and a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of dried parsley, and a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Give this a really good stir so the butter gets coated in the panko breadcrumbs. I have a sheet pan here lined with parchment paper. Go ahead and place the chicken breasts on the sheet pan, and then over the chicken you are going to add that cheesy layer. Just spread it out on each chicken breast, and then over the cheesy layer sprinkle the top with the panko mixture. Bake this in an oven preheated to 450 degrees for about 5 minutes, or until the panko on the top is a beautiful golden brown color. I think some of you guys will remember this, but years ago when we were living in the middle of nowhere on a military base in Utah, I actually made this Parmesan crusted chicken for the very first time. It's kind of like a Longhorn Steakhouse copycat recipe, but ever since I made it that long ago, we have just been loving it since. I also serve this with a side salad and seasoned rice. Everybody needs a good no-peek chicken and rice recipe to pull out of their pocket on those type of days. To begin, spray a 9x13 baking dish with nonstick spray. Next, I'm adding in a 10-ounce can of cream of mushroom with roasted garlic soup. If you've never tried it before, I highly recommend it. It is just so flavorful, and we like it better than regular cream of mushroom soup, but you could add in any type of cream of soup that you like. I also added in a 1.5 cups of water. Next, 1 packet of Lipton onion soup mix. This is going to add a lot of great flavor to this recipe. Give this a whisk. Next, I'm going to add in our rice. So you're going to want to use 1 cup of uncooked jasmine rice, or you could use regular white rice, whatever you prefer. Stir that rice in super well and just make it kind of like an even layer. You don't want any big clumps. Now you're going to want to add in your chicken. So I'm using 3 large chicken breasts. Just add those chicken breasts right on top, and then you're going to want to season them with some seasonings. I'm using just pepper, salt, garlic powder, onion powder, and paprika. Cover this tightly with aluminum foil and bake this in a preheated oven to 325 degrees for about an hour and 10 minutes, or until the rice is tender and the chicken is cooked through. Here's my plate of food. That rice is so flavorful and that chicken is perfectly tender. Like I said before, everybody needs a good no-peek chicken and rice recipe. I also served this alongside of a side salad. I kept the salad pretty simple, but I did use this Primal Kitchen Greek dressing for the dressing. I've really been liking it recently. Now we're making this chicken vegetable stir fry, and this is so easy to throw together. We're going to start out by cutting our vegetables into smaller pieces, so a head of broccoli, one red bell pepper, and about a handful of carrots. You could use any veggies you like for this recipe though, you don't have to use these ones. But over to the pan on my stove, I have a tablespoon of hot olive oil in there. I'm just going to add those vegetables right in. Next, you're going to want to toss in your 1 pound of cubed chicken breast. Season this with a dash of salt and pepper and let the chicken cook through at this point and let the veggies become tender. It will take around 10 minutes. Just stir this occasionally. While this is cooking away, we are going to work on the stir fry sauce though. So in this measuring cup, I have a half a cup of chicken broth. Add in 1 tablespoon of cornstarch along with about a fourth a cup of low sodium soy sauce and 3 tablespoons of honey. Give this a really good whisk to combine the ingredients. Now back over to our chicken and veggies now that they are cooked. Add in that stir fry sauce, and I totally forgot to add in my tablespoon of minced garlic and a tablespoon of minced ginger, but just add that in there. Let this simmer for a few minutes until the sauce thickens up. Then add in some sesame seeds if you have them on hand. Give this a stir and then you could serve it up. As you could probably tell, I was kind of on a rice kick last week, so I served this alongside of some cooked white rice. If you've never made stir fry before, I promise you got this, you could do it. It really is pretty easy to throw together. This dinner is really delicious and full of veggies. I hope you found something for yourself today, and I would love to have you over here, so make sure you're subscribed down below the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.